Welcome, welcome. We are live, and Pete has disappeared. What a great starting point! Welcome everybody from Borovitz. We're live here on Let's Talk Borovitz on the 10th of February, and Mo is our host.
Mo with the hostess, but there he is. Here's Peter. Hi everybody out there in Borovitz land and UK land and anywhere else that might be watching. Welcome to Let's Talk Borovitz. Glad to have you here, the place where you can hear all things Borovitz. And occasionally we have some interesting people on, but tonight we've only got Sarah. I'm only kidding. We got a couple of interesting locals for you this evening. So we thought we'd give you some news and some updates and some latest bits and pieces on the show. Find out how the snow's going in Borovitz, what's going down today. But most importantly, we've got two guests with us today. And the focus this week is on people who live and work and enjoy themselves in Borovitz or just live there, bits and pieces. And I mean, most of them don't even work anyway, really. But first of all, I want to talk to Pete T. Turner. How you doing, Pete?
Good evening, Mo. Good evening, everybody in Borovitz. Good evening, everybody back at home that's listening and tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Great to be here.
I'll just stop you there because you have to look. Let me tell you a little bit about Pete. First of all, before I ask him to introduce himself, he is, as you can see, Pete T. Turner, ski instructor, Yankiev /musician. And he was my instructor when I was there last week. And Jason and I came out with, we had a couple of great days with him. He's a really nice guy. He's local as well. We know him quite well. From back in the UK. And we had a really great couple of days with him. And hopefully now, he's a good friend of mine too. And, if he's ever over here, he's always welcome to come and stay with me and my family. So, Pete, tell us about yourself and why you love being in Borovitz.
Oh, Mo, as you know, it's quite difficult for me to condense that into just a few sentences.
Yeah,
I would do my best. What was the question again?
Just introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I'm Pete. I'm a ski instructor for Yankiev Ski School. This is the first season that I've worked as a ski instructor for them. We have around 10 instructors working for the school, and I am the English Pete. There's a Bulgarian Pete that works for us as well. I'm 5 years old. This is my 4th season in Borovitz.
He's 5.
And I've been living in ski resorts for the last 10 years. And I'm lucky enough now that I get to live here in Borovitz and teach skiing.
What made you choose Borovitz? Of all the places you could go in the world, and I know you've been a few, we'll come to that later, but Of all the places you could sort of end up, what made you choose Bobby?
I was already in Bulgaria. I'd lived between here and other countries, and I kept on coming back to Borovitz in the summer times, and I got fed up of traveling between Bulgaria and the other countries and resorts that I worked in, and decided just to choose one country to stay in. And Bulgaria won the toss, if you like, and it seemed like the perfect opportunity. There was the mountains, there's the sea, it's a beautiful country. So
you kind of all round, there's something for you in the summer, something for you in the winter, and
absolutely, totally. I was in a position where I was going to be able to work as a musician and as a ski instructor, and
very important.
It would be the ideal resort for me to do that.
So you kind of had the opportunity to do that, and you carried it through.
That's it.
Cool. that is really interesting. Because like we're saying, we were just talking about. So, what do you do in the summer then, mate? When we're not teaching ski instruction, we're not playing in the bars. What do you do? Do you just chill out and eat cucumber, or what?
I do chill out most of the time. Being a musician, I'm actually a working musician. I have a couple of bands, rock cover bands, rock and pop cover bands. I play in a heavy metal band as well. Writing original material. I get to play in some festivals all over Bulgaria. I'm lucky enough to do that. Plus, my partner and I, she and I have number of properties. So I'm generally fixing those up and renovating properties a little bit. We also have rescued street dogs over the years.
Oh, cool.
We've set up a couple of charities, one that's registered here in Bulgaria, one that's registered in the UK. And that started off as something that was just very light-hearted to start with. See a dog on the street, see that there's quite a few here in Bulgaria. And it started off with, we'd better give that one a home, let's help it out. Our dog family became a little bit bigger over the years. We've now got 12 dogs.
Wow.
And we used to rehome them. That's become a bit more difficult nowadays. So we work on castrating the street dogs and
So that generally helps to keep the population down, yeah?
That's the idea. It's a very long and slow process, and it takes a lot of hard work, but that's what we do. We work at that, and I still get to play music. I get to travel around the country.
Talking of travelling, Pete, I mean, obviously you've been lots of places. You haven't just been a ski instructor, or you haven't done all your skiing in Bulgaria. I mean, when we talk, you talked a lot about France and Brittany and places like that. So where else have you stayed, and how does that compare to where you are now?
2004 was when I originally left the UK, and I had the opportunity to have a campsite with my parents in Brittany in France.
Wow.
That got me playing music a bit more regularly than I was playing in the UK. I had to have a regular 9 to 5 when I was living in the UK. Got out of that game as best I could, and became a working musician in about 2005. And after that, in 2009, I was in a band that went a bit pear-shaped, and somebody just came up with the idea. A friend of mine said, well, the winter's coming up, why don't you go and work in a ski resort? And at the time, I didn't actually ski. But I jumped in my car, put everything I owned, and I was lucky enough to be offered a resort manager job in the Three Valleys in the French Alps.
Wow.
And went down to Courchevel. I'm sure plenty of you know about Courchevel. It's a very prestigious ski resort, one of the biggest in the planet. Went down there and fell in love with it. Absolutely fell in love with the whole lifestyle and the job that I was doing.
So how did you get? And that's how you got into the winter sport thing. So when did you put your first set of skis on? And how did that feel? And what how long ago was that?
It was about 20 years previous to that. I'd actually done like a long weekend skiing in Austria, but even back then, it wasn't anything that really got me going, as my company was once called in France, the ski bug. I never actually got bitten by the ski bug until I moved to France. So I did this short trip to Austria, never really got into skiing, but could do it. And then in 2009, moved to the French Alps. In December, I was working in these fantastic chalets, went up the mountain. I could see Mont Blanc in the distance of the mountain where I was working. And
closest I've ever got to that is a pin.
I knew from that moment that was going to be it. I was going to be working and living in ski resorts for the rest from then.
Because, I mean, you are having to ski with you for a couple of days, you are quite an exceptional skier. And I mean, so that everybody out there knows, the course to pass for ski instructor is not just, can you teach this person, can you teach that person, but you've got to have a certain level of skiing yourself, haven't you? Is that right?
Oh, 100%. It would never have been any consideration of mine if I didn't think that I was a good enough skier to consider it. There are different resorts around the world, different levels of skiing ability is required.
Yeah, because you were telling me about one in France where you had to go down this certain route in a certain time, and you said there's no way the English guys could do it.
No, a lot of the other ski resorts around the world and just the associations for becoming a ski instructor will have you actually racing against the time set by a Olympics skier, and then they will add on a little bit and say you've got to make a same sort of run, a similar sort of speed to an Olympic skier. And unless you've been brought up on skis, you're very unlikely to do that. So
Yeah,
I'm lucky that to come to Borovets, where the teaching course and the coaching course is obviously of a high level, but there isn't a speed test that you have to do against an Olympic skier. So
that's why you came to Borovets. It's the only place you get a license.
well, you know, there's that involved. Obviously there is that, but at the same time, you need to be a certain type of person to be able to teach. I like to think that I've always had that. I'm a people person. I like to get on with it, and it's so nice for me to see people enjoying themselves, people learning from what I've taught them, and people improving. It's
One of the things I got from you, Pete, that's great, because I mean, definitely you are, without a doubt, a people person, and we saw lots of examples of that when we were there. But one of the things that I really liked about you, being an ex-firefighter myself, and also ex-services, so I've got kind of mountain leader qualifications under my belt and stuff like that. You were deeply interested in safety.
oh,
Tell me
totally.
more about that.
Where I'm working at the moment at Yanakiev Ski School, I'm getting sold by my colleagues to the British clients that are coming over via the Facebook groups and on the internet as the guy that has very recently passed the course, and who everything is very fresh in my mind as I've only recently just passed the course, but it's something that I've always worked upon when teaching, and I've skied just with friends. It's safety is paramount on the mountain. It's so important. You were here just last week, Mo. You were lucky enough to leave just this weekend, but this last weekend that we've just had has been very busy. So
Yeah.
both Saturday and Sunday just gone, super busy. We've not had the greatest start to the season, as a lot of you know. And as soon as the dump of snow came midweek this week, we saw you in the snowstorm just last week, Mo. The the locals coming up, the Bulgarians coming up from Sofia, have really arrived, and it was complete chaos on the mountain.
Yeah, I could see that on the last day I was skiing.
And I'm very conscious when I'm teaching and working with my students that they are paying attention. Spatial awareness, I think, was one of the words that the terms that I used when I was teaching you. Is there's a plenty of people that aren't keeping an eye on who's around them, what's ahead of them, who's coming down the hill behind them, and one of the examples that I'm pretty sure I used with you was about just looking over your shoulder when you're skiing, and just making sure that there's nobody coming down, or snowboarding, Leo.
No, you can find us. We're sitting down. We're always sitting down. It's easy to find us.
So it's a little bit like, I mean, really, you know what I was like with my spatial awareness. I wouldn't move anywhere unless there was no one on the slope, because you know, I'm a fat bloke. I can't ski very well. I didn't want to get in anyone's way. But it's a bit like driving a car, isn't it?
Totally. The analogy that I used with you, Mo, and all of my other students is that you wouldn't pull out into traffic without looking in your rear view mirror. You wouldn't pull into traffic without looking over your shoulder. Unfortunately, too many people do. And you know, too many people ski and board beyond their abilities.
Just to highlight that a bit, I remember one bit when I was on one of the red slopes, and I just got up on the side and I was waiting to go. This little kid pulled up alongside me. Now, to me, at this particular time, this was my last day. This was on the Friday. Like you said, the slopes were packed. It was like looking at a motorway. there was skiers coming down left, right in Chelsea, going left and right, straight. You know, some were coming down really fast. And this kid, he could have been no more than 7 or 8. Off he went, straight across the slope. And the carnage, the kid was totally unaware of what was going on around him. But the carnage, there was people snowballing, falling over, boots and arms and legs everywhere. And it was just absolutely crazy. But one thing I did want to ask you about, we obviously know the importance of helmets. We do see a lot of people not wearing. We spoke last week with Steve Bradley about this.
Yes.
Something you brought up, which I thought was really, really important, and it's a no-brainer, really. Gloves. Tell us about what you think about. How many people did we see without gloves on, Steve?
Pete.
Oh, sorry, Steve. Pete. Sorry. That's going to happen forever. You know that.
Almost every day, whilst I'm out and working on the mountain, I see people skiing, boarding without gloves. And it's something that I learned a long time ago. Many of us, when we were growing up, would have gone ice skating. And I was taught this at a young age when we used to go ice skating, is that we never, ever would have ever gone ice skating without gloves on. And I don't even want to think about the fact, bearing in mind that I'm a guitarist and these are very important to me.
I think they're pretty important to everyone, regardless of thinking.
Ordinarily, you would think so. And the amount of time this season already, and we're only a month and a half, 2 months into the season, that I've had to take people aside and say, please, you might be warm and the sun might be shining. And when we're out here and we're not the fittest and we get very hot very quickly because we're exerting energy, keep your gloves on.
So why is that important?
Keep your gloves. Beginners in particular that are going to fall over, that are going to put their hands in the snow. There's a lot of people out there on snowboards and skis with sharp edges.
Yeah. And even when you pick your own skis up, yeah?
Sorry?
And even when you're picking your own skis up.
So just carrying your own skis, I think, was one of the first things that I said to you, Mo, when we first met, and we were walking from my ski depot to the slopes, and there were people carrying their skis with no gloves on, just because, oh, well, I've been standing here, it's warm, and I've got a jacket on, I've got a hat, the sun is shining, which is lovely, obviously.
Yeah.
But just carrying your skis across to the slopes, you're carrying your skis up and down the road, walking to the gondola, walking up from the gondola. Everybody, sharp edges.
Yeah, of course, and not to mention as well that, and I've seen this before, and I did see this on my second to last day. That you could get caught out at any moment by something on top of the mountain, and you might just need those gloves to keep yourself warm. So that's another important thing. All right, well, something else I want to go on with you, Pete. Something I noticed about you. Tell me about you, because you speak reasonably fluent Bulgarian, don't you?
No.
You've got some good words in there, though, haven't you? You can ask for stuff and.
No, I think when you were over, what obviously we did when we're ordering, some of the first things that we learn when we come over to any foreign country, apart from the swear words, but how to order food, how to order drinks, how to be polite in a restaurant, in any kind of services area.
Because it works for you, doesn't it? I mean, if you go anywhere in the world, and even if you make an effort to speak the language somewhere, like Blagodaria, just by way of saying thank you, you learn something like that. It shows willing, and I think people in other countries like that.
I hope I hope if anybody comes over, they get themselves a little phrase book, a Bulgarian phrase book, even if it is just to be able to say good morning, good afternoon, hello to anybody, good evening to some staff when they're out in the bars, and thank you. Thank you goes a long way. And now you've just said it, Blagodaria, that will help a lot of people. And those that can't remember that, Blagodaria, is mercy goes a long way. Same as in French. And ciao would be bye.
Yeah, funny. That's Italian as well, isn't it? Ciao, ciao.
Yes.
So,
but I don't speak Bulgarian by any stretch of the imagination. I know how to order food. I know how to read the Cyrillic alphabet nowadays.
It sounded very good, mate, to be honest. And I was trying to work something out on something I bought in Lidl. And some meat. We were trying to use the Bulgarian keyboard this morning to see what it was we were actually eating, but I still couldn't. It said blackjack stick or something like that. But it's like one thing I like to get when I come out is it's like the meat sticks and they come in a big string. Do you know what I mean?
They're called they're a nadanitsa.
Right.
So
okay.
Homemade sausage.
Oh, well, we all like a bit of homemade sausage, don't we? Anyway, Pete, I know you can never say never, and we know you love Bulgaria, and there's only so much, and I know you scratch a living and just survive, and because that keeps you out there. But do you think you'd ever come back to the UK?
No.
Okay, that was an easy answer, wasn't it? So, having said that, then, what's the best thing about living where you live?
Well, as you know, Mo, I live here. I'm lucky enough to live here in a small village on the edge of Samakot, just down the mountain from Borovets. It takes me about 20 minutes to get to the resort in the morning for work. And I live in the centre of the country in the rest of the year. I come to and from. Best things about being over here is the variety of the seasons are amazing. You get a great hot summers, nice cold winters. The leaves on the trees change colour.
Oh,
The autumn and the spring, and also
it is very cheap.
yes, it's it's one of those things. Again, we go to as you will remember, Mo. I very rarely will eat in resort because I earn a Bulgarian wage and I live down the mountain and I'd
It's all relative, mate, isn't it?
But yeah, absolutely. But the variety in this country is amazing. To be able to drive, for me, 2.5 hours in one direction and I'm here in the mountains. 2.5 hours in the other direction and I'm over at the coast. And all of the grapevines and the mountains and the open plains and the huge lakes to explore in the middle between the mountains and the sea.
As opposed to being in the UK, where you drive 2.5 hours in one direction, you get 10 miles down the road. You drive 2.5 hours in one direction, you get 10 miles down the other road the other way. So somewhere between Heathrow and Gatwick, you can spend 5 hours of your life. Pete T. Turner, thanks ever so much, Pete. Just going to ask you about your name, Pete T. Turner.
Is
that like a blues name or something?
It is. It was from one of my songwriting partners. My actual middle initial is C for Charles, but a long time ago, a friend of mine said, "But Pete T. Turner sounds like such a cool name. Why don't we call it? It sounds like you're a real blues man." It's always stuck ever since. I have many other nicknames, as you might remember, Mo.
Don't stop. We won't go on to those. Thanks, Pete. I'm going to say Pete Turner's his blues name. We did go and see him in the Red Lion there. I'm a musician, and I'm a jazz musician, and I've been playing the trumpet in jazz bands and big bands and stuff for years. And I thought he was brilliant. I think probably the best act I've actually seen in Borovets. You could understand the lyrics, which is nice. He knew what he was singing, and everyone had a really, really good time. This guy knows how to entertain people. Thanks, Pete. Leo.
Yeah, thank you both. Thank you, Pete.
Over to you, Leo, and Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. How do we go from there? Sarah, would like you to introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Sarah. I am the skiing tortoise, as it says. I do ski like a tortoise. Who wins the race, the hare or the tortoise? I've probably fallen down once this season. Some might say I'm not skiing hard enough. I say I'm just careful and a little more sensible.
Oh, right. We've seemed to have lost Mo. We don't know why, but that doesn't matter. Where are you originally from in the UK?
From Sussex, West Sussex.
Whereabouts?
Horsham.
Horsham. Okay, I'm in Hastings at the moment, not a million miles away. Just over there.
3 minutes south.
Yeah. And how did you get into winter sports?
Oh gosh, that was when I was a teenager. basically it all started. The school I went to was, let's put it this way, not as good. I was at the girls' school. My brother was obviously at the boys' school. The boys' school had trips galore. My school, day trip to Ryan, Battle Abbey, and a trip to Boulogne, if you were lucky. That was it. So when the church youth club decided they were going to do a ski trip, I had to go because my brother had already been twice. And that was it, 15. A couple of years after that, that was it. Went with a friend, never looked back.
So you've obviously got bitten by the bug. How long ago did you move out to Bulgaria?
Oh, just over 9 years ago now. Yeah, it was 9 years last November.
And was it the first place abroad that you moved to, or had you been abroad before?
I was in the travel industry for many years, and I was a civilized holiday rep in Switzerland. Did the summer out there, and I love the mountains, summer or winter. So.
And then you got the bug. So what, you came out 9? Had you been out to Borovets and Bulgaria a few times before?
No. What it was, my other half, Keith, he was made redundant. He was sitting at home twiddling on the computer, thinking, what should we do? And he'd looked at Romania as well. In the past, he'd looked at France, thought, let's do something different. I thought, what? I'd never been to Bulgaria. Neither of us had. So what we did, we took a 2-week holiday. And we stayed up near a place called Veliko Trnovo, which it's expat city, really, not my cup of tea. But from there, all the research we'd done online, we then did about nearly 4,000 kilometres of driving, going around the areas we'd kind of earmarked and liked the look of. But prior to even that 2 weeks, we'd started trying to learn the language, because otherwise you're not going to read a map book, or you weren't at the time that we come out. All the road signs.
Got you. So you moved out, and you're not actually in Borovets itself, are you?
No, we're an hour and a half in the opposite direction in the Pazajig region. So we either come up daily, Monday to Friday, or if we stay overnight, we stay down in Samakov, nice little guest house or something.
And do you have passes just for the midweek passes?
Yeah, Monday to Friday season pass. Too many locals on holidays and weekends.
I think they are, if I remember rightly, they're about 500 lev, aren't they, for the midweek ones?
We're literally within about less than 3 weeks. Keith and I have paid for it, and after 3 weeks, we're skiing for free.
Skiing for free, and I think it includes night skiing as well, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Mo, you're back on again. You disappeared. We don't know why, but there you go. So on average, how often do you say you live about an hour and a half away? How often do you make it over to Borovets?
Usually 4 or 5 times a week.
And when you're sorry, say that again. I talked over you.
Sorry, we didn't come up today, but yeah, otherwise normally it's 4 or 5 times a week.
And when you're not in the summer, what are you doing when the snow is not here?
Well, you see, we got these rescue fur babies, 3 dogs and a cat. So we got them to look after. We got the garden. We grow a lot of our own veggies. Actually, Keith, my little wingman, do you want to just go and get a one of our little squash? Show them the size
to explain to the watchers, Keith was determined to not come on camera today. Pete, we've all had the discussion. He didn't want to come on camera and be the other snowboarder with me.
You can't even find Keith on Facebook. He comments on some stuff, but he's never around.
Oh, he's there. If you've got a comment, and you can see him on the mountain, can't you, Pete? As well. You must have been out with Keith.
Keith run past in the background.
Yeah.
He's put in a little one of our squashes.
Whoa!
Oh.
And what do you do with that, Sarah?
Sorry?
What do you do with that?
Well, today I've made more.
Stop it, Pete.
Do roast
No.
it. Give
Brilliant.
them away to break. Pete, do you want any squashes?
But in my larder anyway.
In the garden, we grow a lot of our own. I bottle a load of tomatoes. We've got jarred tomatoes, a bit like what you buy in the supermarket, tin tomatoes, but obviously homegrown, much better flavour. here locally to us, we got some fabulous warm outdoor mineral pools that are literally 15-minute drive away. So beginning and end of the summer, we go to the warm outdoor mineral pools, just lounge around, enjoy life. And then July and August, when it's really hot, sort of mid to high 30s are quite the norm. And there's another place called Belovo. It's mineral pools again, but it's much cooler. And it is a proper full-size outdoor pool. They're all outdoor pools, I must add. Beautiful. Can't beat it.
So we heard Pete's vocabulary in Bulgarian, but I think, Sarah, from my experience seeing you when I've seen you at various different places, it's a lot more experience.
Well, I wouldn't say experience, but maybe the pronunciation's a bit better.
So how good is your Bulgarian now, and what can you tell us to learn?
We can get by. We can read a menu. I mean, when we had to renew our residency, we got our permanent residency. We did that without a translator. But boys, Mo, Pete, Blagodaria. It's Blogodaria.
Listen to that. Go on again.
Blogodaria.
That's what I said, Blogodaria.
What's that?
What have you got there? Bruzhitsi. Bruzhitsi?
Little meat sticks.
Yeah. It says blackjack sticks.
An extra 20 grams free. Look at that.
Yeah.
I
love these. I can't get enough. I brought about 8 packets home with me.
There you go. So, Sarah, what do you miss from? Is there anything you miss from the UK? If somebody was coming out, what would they have to bring you?
Poppadoms.
Poppadoms.
Curry powder, any Indian spice related. But
Scotch egg. Scotch egg would be nice.
I've got what?
Scotch egg, he said, I think.
A Scotch egg. I actually had a Scotch egg here in Hastings today. That was fortuitous, wasn't it?
They are so easy to make. I learned to make those at school. Sausage, meat, egg, breadcrumbs.
I do make my own.
Yeah. Oh, good.
So, Sarah? Do you think are you and Keith there for good? Do you see yourself coming back?
Keith doesn't ever want to go back to the UK. Me, I'm not sure. If we could ever afford to move back to the UK, it wouldn't be the southeast where we're from. It is just far too busy, too overcrowded. And when I have been back to visit, the rate they're building new houses, it's going to sink into the flipping channel sooner or later. All the green fields are disappearing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the man you need to talk to about that.
Oh, Chichester, Bognor, all round, everywhere. It's just.
Well, I'm
changing.
inside of Tunbridge Wells, and I live in a small village where there's 2,500 houses at the moment. They added 800 houses in the last 3 to 4 years, and now a planning application's just gone in for 2,500. So,
I mean, basically, between Horsham and Crawley at the moment, they are building. There's a new development. It's got the go-ahead. It's going to be housing, schools, apparently, doctors' surgeries, apparently. And basically, there won't be a gap anymore between Horsham and Crawley.
No, it's how things are. Right, let's move back on to the nicer things at Borovitz. So we've had a couple of questions that came in the week, and Mo, there's 2 here. One was about ski tracking apps, and you were having a discussion, I think, with Pete on this.
Yeah, well, I don't know what Pete thinks about tracking apps. You never really bother with him, do you, Pete? He likes to ski and he doesn't care about where he's been, what he's done.
I must admit, since you were here last week, I've downloaded one. I went and actually chose one of the free ones. There's a variety. I use an Android phone, so there's a variety. If you go on to whatever it's called, Play Store, and look and just tap in quite a variety of different type of apps then appear. The one I downloaded, which seems to have worked quite well, there is an upgrade that you can pay for, but just on the free option to see what altitude you're at, see how fast you've been going, see what your average speed has been for the day. I think it will give you your total distance for the day that you've had the app actually running. It won't save all that information unless you pay for it. But it's been quite fun. I will admit, the reason I've never really did, I'm not a fast skier. Some people might say that I would go fast. I go fast, but in a controlled and safe way. I wouldn't go beyond, even when I'm teaching and I'm explaining to my students, have a little time going fast, see how you get on. Is that one of your apps? Yeah. So I mean, I could show you my one, but it's never been something that I've really been that interested in. I'm not that bothered about making record times, but some people are. I would just say, if you're doing it, be very careful. Don't go.
I know what you mean. So another question that we got in was about night ski pass prices. Now, I'm a big fan of night skiing, and Mo and I have had the discussion. Mo, did you end up going night skiing this year? In the end?
No, I've never done it.
Still not done it. Sarah, Pete, are you big fans of the night skiing?
No, it's cold.
Exactly.
I think it's cold there all the time, but
it's a lot colder at night time, Leo.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and again I get asked to do some night lessons, which is fine. I'm getting paid to be there.
Okay, got you.
It's nice. I'm up in the resort. I'm generally there from 8:30 in the morning. So if I want to go out and ski on the Cordroy and just get it really smooth, get some nice tracks in, that's great. I will do mine in the morning. A lot of people, they're not up in the morning to go and do that, so they would rather go and do it when the piste has just been bashed and do the night skiing when it's nice and smooth, which is great. It is quieter. It's always quieter. It doesn't matter, even in the half terms and the weekends. The night skiing is a lot quieter.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's colder.
So let's look at those night pass prices, shall we?
The night pass prices are, so the price is 30 lev for adults, and there is a price of 18 lev for under 13s. They don't do there is no adult or senior or junior. So the junior prices normally for day passes go up to 23, but they don't do that discount for students on
So
nights.
let's put that into English terms at the current rate. So the current rate is about
15 quid for a day, for an evening, and
£13.17 for an adult.
£13. Thank you. £13 for an evening. And Mo, how much was it when you were last at Hemel for the 100 meters at Hemel?
Well, I mean, I think I made a mistake, and we never really talked about Hemel, but I paid £45 for a day. And that was 8 hours skiing, but that includes all your ski, higher gear and everything like that. But I've got to be honest with you, Hemel Hempstead, after the first 45 minutes, forget it. It's boring. You spend 6 minutes on the lift and 15 seconds coming down a limited slope. It's just.
I always go every year. I only book an hour or 2 hour pass, and after about an hour and not even that, I'm like, that's enough. I've got my feet back in and I don't want to do any more.
Lift.
So say that again, Pete.
6 minutes on the lift.
No, it's not. It's about 2 minutes on the lift. It's about 2 minutes on the lift. But if you include
seconds falling down.
Yeah, if you include the amount of time you have to queue to get onto the lift, it rams up. So if it's empty, it's fine. But if it isn't, but the point is, it's great to sort of like, okay, you get that it gets that first run out of you that you normally end up having to spend half a day. Yeah, check your boots, check your legs haven't changed size or something. And
to be fair, I mean, well, I say to be fair, after the first 2 hours, you like skiing down moguls because they don't groom it. That's it.
No, exactly. So that was the night skiing prices. We had a question on that. So we've a couple of other questions that we come in always, and one for everybody really is about where they like to eat and their après ski. With you guys, because you're there more often and you've got a bit of a different thing, where do you prefer? I know, Pete, you'll say where you are, but go on.
Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of really good restaurants in resort, and I will be taken to some, and there will be inevitably occasions when I will stay up at the resort and go out for meals with some of my friends. One I always recommend, and one that's always coming up on the show, is the Green King. But generally, when it comes to eating up in the resort, I think I was in Napoli on Saturday evening, just with some friends that invited me out. It was rugby at the weekend, so it was very busy on Saturday evening, and it was just a really buzzing atmosphere all around the resort. I've eaten in Mamacitas. I've eaten in the place where I play music, the Red Lion. Fridays and Saturdays, everybody.
Shameless plug.
There was, but obviously everybody has their favourites. It's consistency that I think is one of the big words here in resort. You can go into some places on one night and it'll be good. You might go another night and you get not such great. Martin, Fridays and Saturdays, Red Lion.
Love a shameless plug.
So we plugged that to death now. So I'm going to put you on mute, Pete. Sarah, as a more of a long-term traveller to the place, where do you prefer to eat and drink?
Generally down in Samakov. I mean, during the day, as Pete was saying earlier, I think maybe it was before we came on air, the little Coca-Cola hut at the top of the gondola, at the top of Markujic, opposite the little Suha drag lift. He does great little snacks there, beers, and for the top of the mountain, he is cheapest on coffees and beers for his prices. He's usually cheaper than the others at the top. Nice little sun trap. Otherwise, you can quite often find me in the Sangria having a cheeky Stara Brahman after skiing while I've had enough and the snowboarder's still going. Otherwise, as I say, we'll stay down in Samakov. So down in Samakov, my favourite is the old house, Starta Kushta. Beautiful. We ate there last week. Lovely. Another one that's nice, the Derby. That, I would say, it's got something for everyone. Pastas, pizzas, more traditional dishes. You can't go wrong there with this group.
I'm not been down there. What's sort of the average prices for somewhere down in Samakov for that?
Oh, normal village prices. It's lovely. I mean, let's just say the other night at the old house, half a litre jug of house wine, $7.50.
Levs.
Yeah.
I don't even think you need a calculator for that. It's like nothing.
Free, isn't it? They're paying you to drink it.
I had Poleshki Filenzi, which are basically chicken fillet strips. They're not
like a
processed.
Russian politician.
Chicken fillet strips, and you get them with like a mayonnaise dip or a mustard dip. Huge portion, and I think they were only 6 lev, if I remember rightly.
That's not even £3, is it? That's just not even.
£72.
I mean,
That's it. That's it. Mo, what's a kebab down the road cost you?
Oh, don't, right, because you know I print stuff, right?
Yeah.
pmpsigns.co.uk. But I've just printed a menu for the local kebab house, right? And do you want it in levs or do you want it in English? Right? So a mixed kebab, right, is
look at this. Look at this perfect timing.
Right, so a mixed kebab, 25 lev. Yeah, 25 lev.
That was what you paid for you and Keith and the wine included. Was less than that probably.
God, you'd get a taxi home for that as well, wouldn't you?
I mean, Borovets, yes. I mean, to us as living out here, it seems expensive. It's 2 to 3 times the price of normal, but they've then got higher overheads. You know, the renting of the restaurants, etc. They've got higher overheads to cover. And all tourist spots are dearer. You know, wherever you go, over, really.
I get that, as a businessman, rates are higher, rent's higher, and also we a lot of people don't remember they've only got 2 or 3 months a year to actually make their living, so it's a real difficult time for them. And I did notice this year compared to last year was quite a touch more expensive, particularly on the like Black Tiger was a little bit more expensive than I was used to. We got a raised eyebrow at that when we got the bill. It was like, whoa, but you're in resort, you're on holiday. That's what people save their holiday money up for.
So we've got a question here from Kelly, and sorry, the second half of the question is cut off, which is she's coming midweek and she's worried the restaurants we booked up. I've always found, I find with some of the restaurants, you do need to book a day before or 2 days before, especially half time. Unless your name's Mo. But do go in and book them. Places like Happy Duck, Hunters, Green King, you will need to book those. Salamander, maybe not, but I really like Salamander.
I think,
and then
Leo, just when you're talking about booking, I've never found it hard to get a table on the walk-in, but 2 things I'll say about that. Number one, if there's only 2 of you, it's much easier to get a table. And if you go early, sort of like, say, around the 7 o'clock mark, I went into Mamacita's the other night, the place was heaving.
Yeah.
And then the band started and everyone left. No, I'm only joking. The place was heaving, but they still found a table for 2 people.
Yeah, I think so. There are places. Wine Magic is another one, which
it's amazing.
If you want to book it, mountains. That's it.
You're my brother, Ouija. It's amazing.
We've got to have him on, haven't we? We've got to have him on for 1 hour only.
You couldn't wish to meet a nicer person.
No, absolutely
than Christo. He is just the most genuine and lovely person everywhere. And I was talking to Suzanne Barker, who heads up Chris Borovet's transfers. She's the real boss. I know we all see Chris on the side of things, but she'll tell you she's the real boss. She said you can meet him in town any time of the year. He's exactly the same person. He never changes. He's a warm, lovely, genuine guy.
So just finishing off on the bookings for Kelly. So we've listed quite a few races. There are others in there. There are 2. There's 3 that are the themed ones, which is Mamacita's, Sangria for their tapas, and Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings, they have some special nights, so you need to check those nights. It's best to walk around. If you haven't been to Borovitz before, those that are new there, you can walk around the whole of the triangle very quickly, very easily, find the ones you want to book into and book them in advance so you know where you're going. And you may have to be a bit, as Mo said, you may have to be a bit variable on the days. The one you'll find difficult, I always think, is Mamacita's is normally on a Friday because a lot of the ski schools go to Mamacita's for their last ones. Pete, do you go somewhere in particular with your ski school on the last night? I better unmute him now. Sorry.
Red Lion.
Sorry.
Generally, with my ski school, we don't have big groups, so we keep it to private lessons and groups. So we don't go off and do the big. At the Yanakiev Ski School, there is and the hotel, there is its own après ski bar, OTP on the piste.
Ooh,
yes.
Sarah, she forgot that.
Let's do the best hot chocolate, Sarah will tell you. And
it has gone up. It is $6.90 levs for a hot chocolate in the Yanakiev OTP bar. That's just normal, no alcohol in it.
Yeah.
But my is the best hot chocolate in resort. It really is.
Absolutely.
Generally, that's where I take my clients.
So we've got another question again for Kelly about must-dos for a non-skier. So
Stay at home.
But there you go. And our listenership has just gone straight to the floor. Thank you. Good night. We're finished.
Snowboarding tasting session.
Snowboarder tasting session. You're not going to get me recommending that.
Sarah will agree with me. Non-skiers, there's plenty to do. Depending on your age, your fitness and your abilities, There's skidooing, it's going great this year. Horse riding with Butch at the bottom of the Black Run, and they're all the big hotels. So the Rila, the Samakov, the Yanakiev, all have open to the public spas.
Yeah.
So anybody which have plenty
Yeah.
of, I know Mo went and had a massage whilst he was over, and you can go and move around each of the hotels. There's jacuzzis and spas and steam rooms and saunas and things, and most of the hotels have swimming pools as well.
Yeah, we covered last week also in the Samakov. It also has a brand new, just been refurbished bowling alley. It also has pool tables. The pool tables are really good, and the shooting. I've not done the shooting. I've done the other two. Mo, have you been shooting? No.
Nope.
There's karaoke for the non-skiers.
See, I missed
that.
I come out to ski and eat, and I do more eating than I do skiing.
There's plenty of karaoke for non-skiers.
So yeah. I think Kelly's answered her own question now. So when I can, which I'll get there. I was just trying to do two things at once, but there you go. I think she's just answered her own question.
If there's anyone here from Black Tiger watching, can you not pipe that when someone's doing karaoke? Can you not pipe it out the front of the building? I was listening to it the other day, and then a guy stood next to me and went, "Oh, is that the cabaret?" And I went, "Oh God, it was really bad."
There you go. Right, we've got a bit of housekeeping-y things to cover and other things that we always try and cover. This has gone on a great amount of time, which is great. So a few things that people always want to ask us, and I'm just going to share a few bits on the screen. So here we go. So we always use the same website, or I always use the website from Pete's webcam page. This has been great. This is the best place I always find for getting your latest information, and everything you need is in one place. So first off is you can see all the slopes and you can see where it is. It's obviously not the greatest time to look at nighttime, but there was a massive amount of snow last week, and it's all still there. Nothing has run out. If we look at that in terms of what's coming up in the next few weeks, so we've got another amount of snow due in this coming Saturday. So that is it there, coming somewhere around here. You can see where it goes white across the red dot in the middle of the screen is Borovets. So that's coming in there, and the snow depth, which is the bit across the bottom here, you can see it saying up on it. It's a bit misleading, this, because obviously it's working on things which don't have cannons and things like that. So lots and lots of snow coming in. Say again?
Do you need any more snow?
I don't think you do.
More, Mo. Always do with more.
Always doing more. Yeah, I think Sarah's saying the same. Sorry, Sarah, I had you muted there. In terms of the trails that are open and everything that's open, I think you were saying, Steve, I've done now what Mo did. Pete, you were saying that the gondola was closed today, wasn't it?
Gondola was actually open, but when the people got up to the top, the four-man chair and the drag lift were all shut.
Okay, but if we look at that, I mean, you can see from this that literally, with the fact that was closed, the drag and the four-man chairs are closed, but the runs are there, ready. They're all groomed. They've groomed everything apart from, obviously, they don't groom Fonfon. I don't think I've ever seen Fonfon groomed.
Come down, Leo. Just show me. Stop there. The everybody's favourite. Have they seriously groomed the Masala pathway?
Yeah, they did do it.
Wow,
they did do it.
That is everybody's favourite run. You know, that's not a serious skier. It's the one that everyone loves to do. Oh, Sarah, you love to do it as well?
Yes, but my other favourite has got to be Markovic 1 and 2B, the blue and the red top. then Cerveno Zname. Love it.
What
But
do you
it's
think
shame
the
to bring
appeal?
that-
What do you think the appeal is with the Masala pathway?
Oh, the masala pathway. It's anyone generally can do it. There's only a couple of tricky bits and corners on it, but it's beautiful. You haven't got a rush. You haven't got a race. It is stunning. It's beautiful, and it's a walk and a half in the summer.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah,
Hill on the North coming down in the summer.
yeah.
It is. See, to me, my favourite is not to do that way down. I prefer to come out on the the gondola, turn left,
Aramea.
do Hamaria, and then down one of the Yastrabets ones. That's my favourite.
Yeah, they're good too. I only like them if they're the right conditions, though.
Okay,
I mean,
Pete.
it can change from one day to the next. I mean, last week with all the snow and fluff on it, the Yastrabets 3 was fantastic. Had that been icy, I would have hated it.
Pete, what's your favourite as when you're not teaching?
Yastrabets 3. Yeah, it's it's challenging. It's nice and wide. You've got some steep bits, and I learned to ski in France and Austria, so I'm used to having 15-kilometer runs. So for me, the longest one on the resort is going to be Yastrabets 3, and you can really get your legs burning on it.
Yeah, I did that with Keith early in the year when we abandoned Sarah. We went off, didn't we? Keith and I did 3. So the other question.
Time this year.
Sorry.
I did it for the first time ever.
There you go.
I got Mo down there this year, so he was very happy bunny.
Yeah.
So another question we get asked, I'm just rattling through our questions quickly. We also get asked about exchange rates. At the moment, the exchange rate in resort is 2.25. And we compare that to Samakov, which is just down the road, 2.26. So those are your exchange rates at the moment. I know we always get asked this question, so we like to answer questions we get asked. So the last thing I'm going to leave on is Mo and I are suitably attired, aren't we, Mo? If you stand up a bit. And if you want to look not like the cool kids, you obviously can. Mo is actually also producing the wonderful merchandise.
Our design, print them and everything.
So there is a lot of designs on here. So there are designs on there, and will the Let's Talk Borovets one be on there one day?
Yes, it will be. And also as well, if anyone wants a variation on those designs, someone messaged me earlier and said, can I have one? Can we change it to like Ski Kids on Tour or something like that? I'm quite happy to do something, and change it up for them or do something a little bit different. Just ask me. We won't charge any extra for it because we'll just add it to our design list. So, and these are all printed as well. It's not vinyl or anything. It's actually printed straight onto the T-shirt. We use sustainable packaging. So all the boxes we use and the paper that we use to wrap things is all recycled paper, and we don't use any plastic at all. Even the T-shirts are vegan friendly.
Oh, you can't ask for more, can you? Can't ask for more. So that brings us literally to the end of our hour, which has flown by. Thank you to our guests today. Before we disappear, we'll just really quickly, Pete, where you've already plugged it about 4 times. Where can people find you?
During the day, skiing, the Yanakiev Ski School, which is on the Rotata ski run next to the baby drag lift. And on a Friday and Saturday night, playing music. I play guitar and sing, entertain the crowd in the Red Lion between 8 and 11 every Friday. And
not only is he very good, the Red Lion was my last on my food list for my last night in Borovets this year. Never been there before. Highly recommend the pork and chicken skewers. Absolutely fantastic. Not only that, the guy serving really looked after you, and Pete cracks up a really cracking show. He's well worth going to see. He's a good vocalist and he's a really good guitarist. I don't give those out lightly, Pete.
Thanks.
Thank you. Sarah, where
left.
can people find you?
Just generally crawling down some ski runs. I do go.
Or out the sangria.
Otherwise, Sangria or Coca-Cola Hut.
Right, Sangria or Coca-Cola Hut with Keith, the border.
No,
Never.
usually left on boarding.
That's it. That's it. So thank you all. Thank you both for coming today. Thank you again. Me and Mo have really enjoyed this. It's been great. We really appreciate any comments and feedback. Anything that's nice will come to me. Anything that's bad, it's down to Mo. But we enjoy it. And if other people have got anything, please come and tell us. And if you'd like to come on the show, please contact us.
If you know
So on that,
be on the show.
sorry.
Get in touch. If you know anyone that you think should be on the show, get in touch. Jim, one of the
Absolutely.
guys I've met's been coming to Borovets for 30 years. And he was telling us about at one time only being able to order eggs and rice. And there was about 50 different combinations of eggs and rice you could get. So I'd like to get him on the show and have a chat with him. We will need a translator because he's from Northumberland.
And on that point, I think we'll all wave goodbye and say goodbye. Thanks a lot. Thanks for enjoying.
Watching.
Bye.